video, so it looked like the NBA and the WNBA has...
The NBA and WNBA have secretly initiated an internal investigation that has everyone talking. This isn't about missed calls or questionable refereeing anymore. The focus has shifted to suspicious injury reports, odd betting patterns, and questions about how Caitlin Clark was treated throughout the season. The league sent out urgent memos to all 30 teams, indicating that the scope of this investigation could be massive. It suggests that deeper corruption might be involved, potentially exposing issues far beyond what anyone imagined. Many are now wondering if Caitlin Clark was targeted or even had a bounty placed on her during the season. The warning signs were evident: questionable injury reports, irregular betting activity, and players suffering injuries under suspicious circumstances. The NBA's decision to launch such a comprehensive investigation signals that they're taking these concerns very seriously. With the NBA at the forefront, the WNBA is also about to face a full-scale probe. Every detail, every questionable event will likely be examined thoroughly. This investigation could shake up the league's reputation and reveal hidden corruption, making it a pivotal moment for professional basketball.
Wait, I am here to tell you, it's about to go down for real, because the NBA has launched an internal investigation into the league, and boy...
The memo circulated to all 30 NBA teams is truly startling. ESPN even obtained a copy, and the details are as serious as you'd expect. The league is now conducting a comprehensive review of its policies regarding injury reporting, personnel training, and is significantly ramping up monitoring systems to detect suspicious betting activity. The most critical part is that they're not focusing on isolated incidents, but are building sophisticated systems to identify patterns of suspicious behavior across the entire league and its affiliated organizations. Now, let's clarify what affiliate organizations really means. The WNBA, which is directly linked to the NBA, shares ownership, management, oversight, and operational structures. So when the NBA states they're investigating their affiliate leagues, they are definitely referring to the WNBA. Watching the WNBA last season, it was impossible to ignore the alarming injury situation. Players were going down at unusually high rates. Star athletes often missed key games, and injury reports were inconsistent or delayed. At the center of this chaos is Caitlin Clark, whose recent injuries have raised serious concerns about the integrity of the league's health and safety protocols and the potential influence of suspicious activities surrounding her appearances.
I'm telling you, bro, this investigation is about to catapult into something major. And I keep telling y'all this, and I have to retell y'all this. The WNBA is going to be violated sooner rather than later over the civil rights and the treatment of Caitlin Clark.
This season, Clark faced an unprecedented level of physicality in professional women's basketball. The aggressive play she endured went far beyond typical competition, with opponents targeting her with elbows, body checks, and dangerous moves that often went unpenalized by referees. She was repeatedly poked in the eye, knocked to the floor, and subjected to excessive contact that, if directed at anyone else, would have warranted flagrant fouls. The inconsistency of the officiating was so striking that fans began creating compilation videos highlighting the blatant double standards. The level of tolerance for rough play directed at Clark was extraordinary, revealing a troubling disparity in how rules are enforced and how players are protected on the court.
Clark, yes, she was targeted, similar to bounty. That's what I truly believe. I believe Caitlin Clark had a bounty on her. Had to have, bro. The way these players was attacking her, the way the referees was not calling certain fouls against certain players, throwing them out of the game, it is looking very bounty-ish.
Here's where things start to look truly suspicious. When examining betting markets for WNBA games, there were some highly unusual patterns involving Clark's performance. Heavy betting on her over-under stats occurred right before games in which she either got injured or played limited minutes, coinciding with the intense physical abuse she faced. This isn't a simple coincidence. It suggests insider knowledge or manipulation, Such patterns raise serious questions about potential influences on game outcomes to benefit certain betting interests. The NBA's internal memo highlights a similar situation involving Terry Rozier in March 2023, where unusual betting activity was observed around his underperformance and limited minutes. Although the betting was flagged because it went through legal channels, the memo openly admits that much more may be happening undetected. This acknowledgement points to possible widespread corruption that the league hasn't uncovered fully. Even more alarming is the mention of prop bets. Bets on individual stats like points, rebounds, or assists, which are particularly susceptible to manipulation since fixing one player's performance can sway the entire game outcome. Caitlin Clark's performance has historically been the most heavily bet on in WNBA history, making her a prime target for potential exploitation. The combination of suspicious betting activity, the league's admission of uninvestigated corruption, and the vulnerability of prop bets raises serious concerns about the integrity of the game and whether players like Clark are being unfairly targeted or used as pawns in these manipulative schemes. Her unprecedented popularity transformed the betting landscape around her, creating a market that had never existed in women's basketball before. Casual fans who typically wouldn't wager on WNBA games suddenly began placing bets on whether Clark would go over or under on points, assists, and three-pointers. This surge in betting activity opened up enormous opportunities for those with inside information or the ability to influence outcomes. If someone knew that referees wouldn't protect Clark from aggressive play, or that certain teams were encouraged to target her, they could profit greatly by betting on her underperformance. The injury reporting situation is particularly revealing. The NBA memo mentions ongoing reviews of injury disclosure rules. Here's the shocking part. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver was reportedly summoned to testify before Congress regarding these serious issues, with a deadline set for Halloween. Since then, there has been complete silence, and that silence is deafening. When a league's top leader is called to address allegations of corruption or misconduct, and then disappears from the public eye, it indicates that the situation is far more serious than anyone initially realized. It suggests that league insiders are likely working behind closed doors, strategizing how to manage the fallout and contain the damage. If Silver is forced to step down or faces severe repercussions, the future of the WNBA could be in serious jeopardy. Silver has played a pivotal role in supporting and expanding the league, securing major media rights deals, convincing NBA owners to invest in WNBA franchises, and forging stronger ties between the leagues that have helped elevate women's basketball. His absence now raises questions about the league's stability and integrity. Without his leadership, Kathy Engelbert, the league's commissioner, would be in charge. Unfortunately, she has repeatedly demonstrated a lack of vision and crisis management skills. Her handling of the Clark situation was particularly troubling. She failed to publicly address issues of targeting and physical abuse, choosing silence while Clark was subjected to repeated rough play. Her inaction not only endangers players' safety, but also threatens the league's credibility and long-term growth. The coming days will be crucial in determining the league's future direction. The failure of leadership by Kathy Engelbert is precisely why fans have been calling for her resignation for months. This upcoming investigation promises to reveal uncomfortable truths that will shake the league to its core. We're likely to uncover hidden financial relationships between team personnel and betting operators, raising serious questions about integrity and influence. Text messages, internal communications, and leaked emails may show that some individuals knew about injury statuses before they were publicly disclosed, suggesting insider information was being exploited. Additionally, the investigation could expose that some of the violence directed at Clark wasn't merely competitive fire, but was calculated, possibly incentivized by illicit interests. Layer by layer, the corruption within the league is poised to be uncovered, and the truth will be ugly. Consider the suspicious injuries that have plagued this season. Players who appeared perfectly healthy one day suddenly unable to perform the next. Star performers have had inexplicable off nights, especially after heavy betting on their underperforming games. Officiating has also raised eyebrows, with some games appearing blatantly biased, as if referees were actively trying to influence outcomes. All of these elements will be scrutinized, questioned, and some will be proven to be as corrupt as initial suspicions suggest. The civil rights dimension of Clark's treatment will also play a significant role. When a white superstar faces targeted violence with little consequence, while others face minimal repercussions, it exposes troubling disparities rooted in league priorities and potential discrimination. The Wall Street Journal has already reported on civil rights violations in Clark's case, and with an official internal investigation underway, these allegations are now being taken more seriously than ever before. There's a real possibility that some individuals could face legal consequences, as betting-related corruption in sports is a federal crime. The coming revelations will likely ignite calls for accountability and could reshape the league's future profoundly. If investigators discover evidence that players, coaches, team staff, or league officials were involved in schemes to manipulate game outcomes or share insider information for betting, it would be a serious scandal. Similar scandals have rocked other sports, such as when NBA referee Tim Donaghy was convicted for betting on games he officiated. If the current investigation uncovers what many suspect, this could be an even bigger scandal, potentially on a scale several times greater. The memo's focus on protecting players from harassment is especially relevant to Clark's experience. She faced death threats on social media, with individuals showing up at her hotel and sending threatening messages after her performances. Worse, bettors who lost money on her games targeted her with abuse. The league failed to intervene, offering no additional security or public condemnation, leaving her vulnerable to dangerous harassment. That neglect will likely be heavily scrutinized as part of the investigation. The timing of this inquiry is also significant. With the WNBA season just concluded, all relevant data is fresh, and recent suspicious activities are still clearly documented. Memories are fresh, and evidence has not yet disappeared. This makes it an ideal moment for investigators to gather concrete proof and build cases. The league's swift action suggests they're aware of the severity of the situation and want to control the narrative before more information becomes public or federal authorities step in independently. This investigation is poised to have major repercussions for the league's reputation and integrity. Fans have been voicing concerns for months, insisting that something was off about this season's outcome. The repeated targeting of Clark physically across multiple teams seemed too coordinated to be mere coincidence. The blatant inconsistencies in refereeing raised suspicions that went beyond simple mistakes. Similarly, irregularities in injury reports, players suddenly unable to play after being healthy, pointed to something more sinister. Now, it appears league officials themselves acknowledge that there were serious issues at play. This validation is crucial because it confirms that fans' fears weren't unfounded. The patterns were real, and an investigation is underway. The international implications are also significant. Sports betting operates globally, and American leagues have partnerships with international betting companies. If corruption within the NBA and WNBA is confirmed, it could impact betting markets worldwide. Other countries will demand answers about potential fraud and game manipulation involving their citizens. International law enforcement agencies may get involved if the scope is deep enough, making this a diplomatic concern as well. Players will face tough questions. Some may have known about the schemes, but stayed silent out of self-interest or fear, while others might have been unwitting victims of the corruption. Clark clearly falls into the latter category, but others will need to clarify what they knew and when. Locker rooms may become tense as players realize that some teammates could have been involved in schemes that compromise the integrity of the game. This investigation could reshape perceptions of the league and its players profoundly. Coaches will come under intense scrutiny as well. Investigators will seek to determine whether they were aware of betting-driven motives behind certain game strategies. Questions will arise about whether they were pressured by team management to make decisions that favored betting interests, rather than the integrity of the competition. Did they notice irregularities, such as odd injury reports or suspicious timing, but choose to stay silent? These are critical issues that the investigation will explore, and the answers could be uncomfortable for many involved. especially those who believed they weren't directly participating in betting schemes. Sponsors and media partners of both leagues are also paying close attention. They have invested billions of dollars based on the assumption that they were supporting legitimate, fair competition. If it's proven that games were manipulated and outcomes were influenced by corruption or betting-related misconduct, those sponsors and broadcasters will likely demand refunds or renegotiate their contracts. The financial repercussions could be catastrophic, especially for leagues like the WNBA, which operate on thin profit margins. Looking ahead, this investigation is expected to take months or possibly even years to fully unfold. Authorities are implementing advanced monitoring systems powered by AI and comprehensive data analysis tools. They are reviewing policies, conducting interviews with personnel, and examining communications and transaction records. This enormous effort suggests that major revelations are anticipated, and systemic reforms may be necessary to restore trust and integrity across the sport. The leagues involved in this investigation are likely to look very different once all the facts come to light. For Caitlin Clark in particular, this probe might finally shed light on why her season unfolded the way it did, why she was subjected to unprecedented physical targeting, why referees appeared to turn a blind eye, and why the league office remained silent during critical moments. It's also possible that her injury reports were handled in ways that now seem suspicious. Caitlin Clark absolutely deserves these answers. She has a right to know if her health and safety were sacrificed to serve betting interests, and if anyone profited from schemes that put her at risk. Justice is essential, not just for her, but for the integrity of the sport as a whole. The most alarming aspect is that what we've uncovered so far might only be the surface of a much larger problem. The memo from investigators indicates they believe there's more corruption and manipulation than what's currently been exposed. This suggests that the current revelations are just the beginning. As the investigation deepens, new details will likely emerge that make the existing findings seem minor. The scope of this corruption could be so vast that it fundamentally alters our understanding of professional basketball. The ongoing inquiry into injury reports and betting corruption is poised to uncover shocking truths that will shake the sport to its core. Caitlin Clark's experience this season might suddenly make perfect sense once the full behind-the-scenes story is revealed. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about the very essence of the game's integrity, player safety, and whether what we see on the court is genuine. Stay tuned, because this story is only going to get bigger.